It's been now 2 to 3 months since we moved to France, and I just wanted to highlight the biggest challenge that we've had. And before you go and think, I have a French accent, so I'm French, half Australian, full French, full Australian, and you think, oh, that was probably easier for you. Not always, and you'll see why. But so I just wanted to highlight three things and give you tips for each one of those things that will help you if you move to France. Now, the first thing is car insurance. Now, buying a car here, it's actually obviously very important. You cannot rent a car forever. So if you have to buy a car, you notice that buying a car, it's actually pretty simple. They're not very fussy as long as you can pay for it. They'll just check if you have a driver's license. And we'll go into more detail on driver's license when we talk about the car insurance. So to buy a car, it's relatively easy and straightforward. But to get an insurance for your car, and this is really the first big challenge that I've had, buying insurance for the car. What makes it difficult is that in France, the insurances looks like it's almost managed by small agencies, and every agency has their own view on things. So it's not like I can give you A, B, C, this is what will happen. It's very, very challenging because it looks like they can all make their own rules. And also, they don't really do things online, which is very strange. And I would explain why the cost can be high is, in Australia, obviously, everything is done online. It's very rare that you have to call them. But here, you not only you have to call them, but you could spend 30 minutes on the phone with them, and after they tell you, yes, but you need to go and see an agency, so we can see you. So what is the challenge of car insurance in France? As mentioned, they all have their own rules. There is, I can tell you from my experience, one didn't like the fact that I was French with an Australian driver's license. Now, when you go to France, you can drive with your foreign driver's license for up to 12 months. So it's okay to drive. On the safe side, you can ask for an international driver's license if you come from a country with difficult to read, I'd say, letters. English should be fine, but international driver's license can help. So you're okay to drive with your own driver's license for 12 months, but after it becomes a challenge, meaning you are not allowed to. And here I have to also mention that if you come from the European community, it's very easy. I think the insurance, the driver's license, you can actually even use it now. Everything is just not. So if you come from the European community, then you won't have any problem. But if you come outside, this is where the problem starts to come. Okay, so go back to insurance. First of all, they will not like the fact that you have a foreign driver's license. You have to go to very specialized agencies to be able to get insured with a foreign driver's license. Although you're allowed to drive, they don't want to know about this. And I'll explain how you do that later on. But the bigger challenge that I have is when you take a car insurance in France, they want you to show them the last 3 years of claims or no claims. Sinistre, as they call here. So, and this is the biggest challenge I've had. I didn't have this. I managed to, at some stage, I went to an agency after spending 30 minutes on the phone. They say, oh, yes, now you can go there. We can insure you, no problem. I spent 45 minutes with a woman, and I showed her my claims history. Actually, I have the paper, and she was very happy with this. And then in the end, she said, oh, it was a bit of a complicated story. She said, oh, the manager was not here. She spent time with her colleagues. It's like they were decided between themselves, if they could insure me or not. Back to the fact that in France, it's all agency based. And in the end, she said, at least I can try and see how much it would cost you. And she couldn't even do it on a computer. So what is very interesting is how am I different from an 18-year-old who's never driven and he wants to have a car insurance? And this is where I couldn't really understand. I just cannot understand that. Why is it so hard to insure a mature person when usually when you just start off, you should be able to drive because you have no claims history then, and you have less experience driving. Obviously, you have no experience driving. So this is something that really drove me nuts. So having a claims history before you go, this is a tip. Try and get a claims history. If you want to really go the full Monty, have it translated with a stamp of approval from an approved translator. Go for it. Try to get an international driver's license. And the third tip really is you need to try and go to insurance that are specialized, I suppose as a last resort because they'll be more expensive, that are specialized in people who have lost their driver's license when nobody wants to insure them. So this is where I ended up in the end. I had to go to pay quite a bit of premium. Obviously, it will go down as I move forward without having accidents, obviously, God forbid. But yeah, so I went to this insurance when they say they're specialized in people with very bad driving records. So this is where I was at. And in the end, I just managed to resuscitate my French driver's license, and I thought all the doors would open. But no, it didn't really help in the end. Because what happens is, and that's a little bit scary, and that's will be related to the third issue that I want to mention later on. The third tips is that when you change country, they very sadly tear up your old driver's license when you want to apply for a new driver's license. So let's say you come from Argentina, you would have your Argentinian driver's license. If you want to get a French driver's license, they would want to have this, and you would need to have it to give it the real copy to them. And if Argentina is from one of the countries that they can recognize from a driver's license point of view, they will convert it, so will transfer it, but they will tear up your Argentinian one. And this is what happened to me when I went from France to Australia. And this is where I thought I lost my driver's license, but I didn't lose it. They just tore it up. Now, if I could give you a tip, if really you find that it's too hard for you to lose your driver's license from the country you're coming from, what you can do is to try and get a driver's license by going through the test here. Now it's much better than before. Before, in my days, you used to go and have a seat like a school where you have to learn things, but now it's mostly is online. And if you drive only an automatic, like there's more and more automatic now, if you want to, it will be much easier if it's an auto test. So you pass your test, get the French driver's license, and you get to keep both. Now, I think that in Australia, unfortunately, the Australian driver's license expires every 5 years. So in 5 years, God forbid, what I'll do with my Australian driver's license. But now, that would allow you to have both driver's license at the time. So I hope I didn't turn you off getting a car insurance. But I think this is, for me, it has been the biggest challenge for me. And the fact that the rules are changing. At the end of a conversation with someone, they were just about to insure me. Yes, Australian driver's license, no problem. Yes. And they realized I was French. And they say, oh, sorry, you are French. We really cannot insure you. Now, a last tip on this, and this is really a last resort, is if you get two insurance companies that turn you down, you can make a request to force one of them. I think it's one of them. You can make a request formal going through the government and the likes. You'll find all the paperwork online to really force them to insure you at some stage. So it's a longish project. It's 2 months or the like. So in the interim, while this happens, if you could get someone else to insure the car for you. If you know someone very well in France, get them to insure the car for you, and then you can drive it as an occasional driver. If you put yourself as a secondary driver, you would have problems because they would want to know all your histories as well. So back to square one. So if you want to put yourself an occasional driver to get you started, then that would work. Okay, so this is enough for car insurance. I hope it was not too much all over the place, but I just really wanted to highlight you the challenge that you will have with this. If you come prepared, if you have a claims history, if you have your driver's license translated, if you have obviously an address is something that you will really need, and hopefully that won't be too much of a challenge. If you know someone, that will be the big tip. If you know someone there, get them to say that you live at their place, and they will give you the ID card, and then things will be much easier for you. And this is one of the things that helped me here. I know people here, so I can ask them this. You need to know them well, obviously. But this is it for the insurance part. So the second challenge is, now we've sorted the car, hopefully. The second challenge is, where do you live? I'm assuming that to start with, you had a place to land. Obviously, if it's a holiday place, they're not as fussy with as long as you usually pay in advance or the like, so they don't want too much detail. But if you want to start renting long term, à l'année, as they say, by the year, this is where the challenges will start. And they would want to make sure that you can pay the rent. Once again, like for the cars, buying a house, no problem. Buying a car, no problem. But to rent a place to live, this is where you would find a big challenge. And I'm going to try and give you tips on how to go around this. Now, there is something that you need to know about renting in France, is that for them, the salary slips, being able to demonstrate that you are getting paid, and also to a certain extent, and I would say quite strangely, your tax papers, the tax papers from last year. So obviously you don't have any tax paper from last year. If you can bring a tax paper from where you come from and have them translated, ideally, once again, just to make sure, that's best case scenario. If it's not translated, at least it's a start. But I don't know about your situation, but for me, I don't work anymore. I'm retired. Look at my video on how I managed to get retired that early, and so I cannot, demonstrate that I have a salary slip. So it's interesting because we've sold our house in Australia, so we have enough money to buy a house in France. But that's not sufficient for them. They need to see salary slip. And I know people who've had the same problem. Some people quite healthy. They couldn't really, be a backup for someone because despite the fact they are very wealthy, they are being told that they could spend it all. They need a regular income. So if you're working from maybe if you have a temporary job or the like, things will be much easier for you. You can have maybe a paper from your employer saying that yes, you'll be paid and the likes. But if you're like me, if you live from your investments, it will be much tougher. And I'm not saying that to turn you off. Please move to France. We need you. But it's more to so you come prepared. So I think it's very intrusive. Some people they don't even want to show you the place. They don't even want to tell you where it is, and this is what's so frustrating and very, personal. Your intimacy is being really put to the forefront because they want to know all these details about you. Even you don't even know if you're going to like the place. The place could be a dump. So you have 2 or 3 photos, and you said, "I'm interested," and they say, "Okay, show me your salary slip, show me your tax things." And if you don't have enough to pay, they might say, "Oh, yeah, do you have a backup person?" And they want all these personal details from a backup person. And one agency, one real estate told me, "Can you have someone to be a backup for you?" And I say, "I don't want to ask people for backups when I have enough money on my account to buy a house. This is ridiculous. Let's put a stop to this." So what do you do? Obviously, if you can get a holiday place for as long as you like, then assuming you want to buy a place, take a holiday place. But the problem with holiday place is they become more expensive during holiday season. So we managed to get a holiday place, in winter when the prices are low, but we couldn't keep it really because the summer is coming, and then the prices will be what we pay for a month. They charge it for the week, so because it's a touristic area. So if you can get your holiday place to stay there as long, it's good. They actually pay for electricity, water, and all that. Everything simplified, so it's not it's a good option for you. But if you can't, so I've been offered a couple of options from a real estate agent. They say you can spend money and to get someone to be a backup for you. What I call being a backup in French, I call it being être garant, avec un garant. So I don't know how to say it in English, so I call it backup. I think it's clear enough. So, but you have to pay quite a big amount. For me, it was 1,000 euros. And if you go through a real estate agent, they pay, it's almost 1 month rent that you have to pay for the real estate, because they have to do so much work for you. So on top of the rent, usually it's 2 month caution. You have to pay 2 months just in case you wreck the place. On top of this, that they will give you back if all goes well, you have to pay 1 month to the real estate agent. And on top of that, one real estate agent very bravely said 1,000 euros just to go through an insurance type of understanding with the landlord. So that was a lot. So that was already, let's say 2,500 euros just to be able to see the place. Obviously, if you don't take it, you don't have to pay all that, God forbid. But thank God. Wrong use of the anyway. So just before you can even see it, I had to sign all those papers. And it's ridiculous. It looks like the landlord, they'd rather have the place empty. And I see some places that are still empty now, 2 months after, because they turned us down, because we didn't have salary slips. Thank you very much. And now they're still looking for someone, which is idiotic almost. So this is it. So this is the first option that they will give you is just, and actually the second option. So what you really need to do in this case is to go for what they call à particulier, to rent directly from an owner. So that would have several benefits, but there's not as many, but that would have many benefits. The first benefit is obviously you don't have to pay these 1 month to the real estate agent. I mean, this is huge. This is a huge benefit. And the second benefit is not in all cases, but you might be able to get them to really trust you. And therefore, they don't need anything. They just, it shows them something. I think show them something. I showed this guy my bank account from Australia where I sold my house, and looked like it was enough for him. They are not all like this. Some, despite that it's direct to them, they still want you to be able to. They still want some type of insurance. So this is one lady said, the rent was 1,500 a month, and she wanted me to pay 1,500 to go through a notary, a lawyer, and I would put 12 months in a separate account, and then all that for 1,500. And she was saying, "Oh, but you don't have to pay the real estate agent." I mean, which is really an off-the-cuff comment, but. So this is what I would suggest you, and I can give you some websites on this. And I have to remember to tell you how to get to this website. So this is something that you really need to try. I'm just looking at the time. Yes, I'm trying to keep them around 10 minutes. So really try to go direct to someone and try to engage a conversation with them. Obviously, it will depend on how many people they are seeing, but I have the feeling that for us there was not a lot of people for that house. It's not at all what we wanted, but it's the only person who was willing to let us in. It's actually quite a new place, very empty. You'll see if I can show you, but this is why maybe it resonates a bit more. If there's no furniture here, and so yeah, so it's actually the best way to go to direct to someone and make sure that they don't try and sneak you into lawyer fees and the like. So have time. Make sure you go step by step. Give them as much logical thing as you want. It's really frustrating when an agency tells you, "Oh, but we need to make sure that you pay the rent. The landlord is very important for them." Obviously it is. But if the price to buy a house on my account is not enough for you, what do you want me to do? And I mean, someone who just working down the shop in a coffee shop at a very low salaries got more chance to get an apartment or a house than me because I cannot show any salary slip. So this is the challenge, go direct. So now which website to use? So obviously you can Google and find website, but the one that is very popular here, it's called Le Bon Coin, LEBONCOIN, leboncoin.com.fr or leboncoin.fr. You will find it. It's very popular here. You can buy stuff, you can rent stuff, you can buy a house through this as well. All the agencies put their thing here. At the beginning, it was just direct from people to people. Now there are agencies in between. So when you go through this, you'll see the rents that are for through the agency. So they will know. I think you can go through the pain of contacting them if you don't have any salary slip. But if you have salary slip, yeah, go for it. But if you don't, I spare you the stress. Go and try to see only a direct person and then explain your situation. Give them as much proof as possible, and then you will find something. I'm hoping this is your best chance. Now, before you jump into this website, there is something that you need to know is that this website is for the French. Okay, so they would want you to have a French phone number. If you want to start, that is if you want to start investigating while you're overseas. When you are in France, you will need a French phone number. And I wanted to use this website when I was overseas, and they kept asking me for my phone number. So I had to give a phone number online. I found a temporary phone number because they just use it once at the beginning to send you a code. I don't know if it's illegal or not, but if you're online, you can look at the temporary phone number, so they just share it, and then you get the code, and then you don't use these anymore. But when you get to France, obviously, the sooner you can get a proper phone number. I know now with WhatsApp and the like, and this is what I've been doing for years. Oh, I don't need a phone number. I have WhatsApp, but you'll be asked that all the time. You'll be asked for your phone number and an address all the time. So if you know someone, ask them to write a piece of paper saying, yes, this person lives with me. And for a phone number, you will need this address as well. You need the address, so you need this piece of paper. So this is the second challenge. Start early, try and go direct, give them as much as you can. Get prepared for the tax stuff if you have to, if you really want to. But they are very before they show you the place, they would ask you for all this, which is really frustrating. Obviously, for us as end users, we would rather see the place first, and after, okay, I like this place, so I'll show you all this. But for them, it's the other way around. They don't want to waste their precious time. Okay, so this is for the second issue. Now we are left with a third issue, which is less admin, but a little bit more, quote unquote, emotional. The last thing I wanted to talk about was the emotional part. When you are 25 and you move to a country, you in a way, one, you have less things to carry, you have less history. So when I moved from the other way around, from France to Australia, I was not, carrying anything. I just had a suitcase and that was it. I was not expecting anything. But here, this time, we are shipping things, so we have a lot of things to carry in more way than one. But Yeah. So and when you are later in life, as I put it, it's you start to wonder: is it going to be forever? This is where I'm gonna end end up in the end in my life. So I think this is much more intense than when you're going 24 and 25. You don't even think about this. You just imagine you go somewhere, you're going to live, and whatever happens, you don't even think about that. But here, I think this is what makes it difficult, and especially for me, I'm also learned French, and my wife, sorry, is the same. But she was born in Australia. We met in Australia. Now she became French from the French nationality. So for her, it's like this big realization. Okay, once we put our suitcases here, is it going to be here forever? Despite the fact that we had an agreement that we're going to try it for 5 years, and after we're going to see, there is something very scary about this, and I have a lot of empathy about her. This is why now, after 2 months, uh, she had to go back to charge the batteries in Australia. She just felt so enrooted. So this is a big difference when you are reaching that age, I suppose. It feels more final, without sounding too scary. It feels more final. We still have a lot of life ahead of us, but it does feel more final when you move later in life than when you move when you're 25. So what could we have done better? What we could have done better is that, as I was not working when we were in Australia, I was doing a lot of the prep work, and for me, in my mind, we were really moving. And as my wife was still working, she was just more or less doing what we had on the plan, and she was not taking the initiative really. And I'm saying that with all the love I have for her, it's because it was not really a role. But I think that prevented her from really realizing what we were doing. A few weeks before, selling the house, and I was just telling her, remember, in a few weeks we start selling the house, and he came like, wow, what does that mean? And then we had to postpone for a few months. So because she just didn't realize, so we're supposed to move here in October, and we ended up moving here almost in January, end of December. So it's just realizing, making, really realizing what it all entails, not just a project. And after, when it becomes real, oh, what's going on? And I think this is what happened to her. And so this is the first thing: do some work while you are in Australia, and while you are wherever you are, before going to France. And the other component is as part of preparation, is you will have a different culture. I mean, some people have a very good view on the French culture. Some people a very different view. But sometimes when they come here on holidays, they focus on the food, on the on the all the positive stuff. But when you move here, it's still the same country, but you have to realize that it's a different culture from where you are, and you don't have your network of friends. You don't have all of this. So this is something that you need to do some prep work for, and this is probably the mistake that we've done. Obviously, here I know people. I have my family here, but the problem that we have is that we don't know anyone really outside the family, and we thought we'll get onto this once the French, my wife's French, gets better, because it's sure it's not easy to blend in a group or an association when your French is not good. So this and then we waited, and after 2 months we realized, oh, we only see my family. We do all the holiday stuff, but I don't feel grounded here. She said she didn't feel part of it, because obviously it's a different country. So this is, I suppose, something that you should really work on before you go to French. Obviously, if you if you don't know how to speak French, is do your best to learn the language. Go to classes. Do all you have to do. Conversation, especially. Try and watch French TV series. Use VPN if you have to, with the French subtitles. And my wife now has been doing that for 2 months, and it made just a huge difference. And it's not easy as a couple to speak French all the time. I think that I can speak French, so we can practice together, but it's not easy. unless you have things that are not really important to talk about. But so this would help you tremendously. There will be one less obstacle that you'll have to face, is feeling really the outcast, because everybody speaks French and understands French, and you feel a bit left out. Now the other thing is to have a look at the overall culture. Telling yourself that your culture is not dead, your culture is still over there. Can you bring it with you? Make it last here. Link with groups of people that have the same type of culture. Link with English-speaking people here. Try and find if there are associations from your country here. It's all part of the transition, and doesn't mean you have to see them forever, but it's all part of the transition. Read books on the topic, because there is some work to be done on the outside, but there's also some work to be done on the inside. I don't know if you're in meditation, but they're suggesting some meditation on this, on the challenge that you will face. We have one book, it's called Portable Identity, that we started to have a look at. It gives us some good pointers, and in a way that my wife only started to have a look at it after 2 months, and she said, yes, all that I've been feeling, that woman, the woman that wrote that book really felt it as well. And so this helps to know that what you're going through, it's normal, but I think that it's something that you need to start before. You need to start. It's as important as moving stuff. It's taking care of the landing here. Another thing that I find is really, 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 really important is, as I was saying, when it's later in life, we feel that, will we ever move away from this? Is it forever? And the likes. It's really to tell yourself that the country is not disappearing. Your country will always be there for you to go back to. Even if that means spending your holidays every year there. Even if it means going back after 6 months. And this is what I really suggest is, let's say, it might sound crazy, but let's say you're moving here in January. Plan to go back in June or July. Don't book your ticket yet, but have this in your mind. Have this plan in your mind. I'm not going there forever. I'm just going there for 6 months, because remember, as I was saying, all the fun might still be there, but all the fact that you are not surrounded by people, you're not grounded as much. On top of that, there is also the fact that moving houses, you're moving all this. And I was saying, my wife, maybe if we stayed in the same house, transported here, that would be easier. All those things change, all the habits, everything changed. So, and we've been moving here. We've been going on holidays here. Sorry, we're trying to go. Last time we came for 6 to 8 weeks, for instance. We said that we wanted to be sure that we'll like living here. So we stayed here for long enough, but even that didn't really help us with the settling in here, especially from the emotional side, and especially from my wife's side. So it was good. We learned a few things, but that was not sufficient. So do a lot of prep work. Do as much prep work as you can. Your moving doesn't start the day you put your suitcases here. The move, for me, from an emotional point of view, should start at least 12 months before. Realize, plan going back, plan what you're going to do for cultural stuff here. Don't expect it to be a smooth ride. Now just talking about the overall free areas that I mentioned in this, I don't know if you know Albert Ellis is a guy that I might not translate properly, but I want to say that he's a guy who thinks the problem we have and challenge we have is we always expect things to go as we plan perfectly, and as soon as it doesn't, then we are depressed. And here, this is a perfect example. We expect problems in a way. Don't stress about it, but expect problems. And this is what I've been telling myself. When you have to fill forms, you have to do all this, and I was telling myself, Ben, you're going to have to be patient. You have to know that the first form you send will not be the right one, and they will come back asking you for more and more and more and more. So that didn't really happen, interestingly enough, but other things that I didn't think of didn't go right or didn't go okay. So for the car insurance, I think I've nailed it. So if you want more help, let you know in comments. I have to say, any help I can give you, I will, because this was extremely stressful, and that's an understatement. Don't rush into buying a car. Just sort this one out first. You can say that you're about to buy a car, and then you learn the process. You learn which insurance is willing to insure you. The second thing is about the home. Obviously, plan for enough time for you to sort all of that, to start the process earlier if you can, and then prepare, as I was saying, for the emotional side. But all this, don't expect things to go smoothly. One of the things they say in his book is things. It will be messy. It will not be bang, bang, bang. Yes, I rather do A, B, C. I like to plan and bang, but it won't. So it's not a bad news. It's something that you can cope with, learn some ways to cope with all this. And when you have a problem, don't say, oh, that's it, that's the end. Just when you have a problem, have a workaround. Okay, that will not happen first time. I have some workarounds, and I can work through this. Do relaxation techniques would be very useful for it. It's not something I did, but unfortunately, I heard about this a bit too late, because that's very important. And now I'm still going through some stuff. I mean, I can review other challenges, especially if you have some small businesses or some business you want to bring. I can work on this, the taxes, the tax residency, and the like. So those are maybe a bit more technical, but if I can, be of use, I might just do it. It's a good way for me to, get it out of my system, put it out there. If there's one person that can, make the most out of it, just go crazy. Okay, so this is it for my first 3 challenges. Apart from that, everything is going okay. Okay, talk soon.